Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. This video is for part 8 of my Enigma blanket design. In part 8 we're going to be making these bands that are on either side of the square. So you've got them on this side of the square and also on the opposite side. So I'm going to show you how to make the band, and then there's also these flowers, 48 of them in total. You can make them if you want to, but you can also choose to omit them altogether. That's also good. So I'm going to show you how to work the band, and I'm going to show you how to work the flower. Let's get started. In row 1 of the first panel, I'm going to start in any chain 2 corner space on the large square. In there, I'm going to start with the standing double crochet. So I'm just yarning over and holding on to that. In that chain 2 space, work a standing double. There we go. We're now going to work a double crochet in every stitch across, and the first one is easy to miss because it's this it's a half double here, so there, that stitch, be sure to catch that stitch properly. And then from here it should be easier. So work a double crochet in every stitch until you're to the other side, and that's quite a bit, so I've got 182 stitches to do. So I'm just going to work these across almost to the end here. Now I've worked a double in every stitch across, and now I'm here at the chain 2 space, so this is the next corner, and here again work one double. There we go. At this point you should have 184 doubles. Turn your work for row 2. Row 2, it's going to start with a chain 3. And this chain 3 counts as my first double, and because it counts as the first double, we're of course going to come to the second stitch. So that's the first stitch, that's the chain 3, that's for that stitch. So come to the next, here in stitch number 2 work a double, and work now a double crochet across. So in every stitch work a double. And you're at the end of this row, you can again turn your work. So for now, work a double in every stitch across. For rows 3, 4, and 5, you're going to repeat row 2. So you're going to work 3 more rows of a double crochet on every stitch. So at the end of row 5, so you see here's row 1 and 2, and then there's row 3, 4, and 5, you have a section like this, so 5 rows of double crochets. And at this point make sure you have the right side facing for row 6. Row 6, I have the right side facing, so you see here's the pattern rows. New color yarn on my hook, and in this row we're going to work a half double in every stitch. Now the first stitch here is at the moment is a chain 3, so we're going to work a standing half double in that chain 3. So I'm going to yarn over, and then here in the top of the chain 3 work a standing half double. And then come to the next stitch, and this stitch is going to be a little bit wonky. That next stitch work a half double, and now work a half double in every stitch across. So at this point it should now be easier for you to see where the stitches are. So just this one row in this color, so a half double on every stitch. And when you get to the end, you can fasten off, and then again leave the right side facing. So a half double in every stitch, and fasten off at the end of the row. Row 7, right side facing. In this row we're going to work a back post half double on every stitch. The first one is a standing back post. Now, to make it easy for you, just hold on a little bit to that thread there, because a back post you would work like this, but there's of course nothing here, so this first one is a little weird, and if you find it really difficult to work a back post stitch, just work a regular half double here. Now, so from the right, I'm just going to come between those two stitches. So I'm setting my needle to the back, then pick up the yarn and making sure that your stitch here, that's like remains uncovered, and bring it to the other side. I'm just going to fold the stitch forward, and that's the standing back post half double. Now, so if this doesn't work for you, just work a double crochet, a normal half double, and then the next one should be easier to work the back post half double, because that one stitch really isn't going to make a big difference whether it's a back post or a normal half double in the bigger scope of things. And at this point, continue and work a back post half double on every stitch across till you're to the other side. And when you're at the other side, you can fasten off. So I'm just going to continue, and then when you're at the end, just fasten off this row. So you've just worked this section here on one side of the blanket. Now go to the opposite side. So this is one side of the square, the opposite side, so really on the other side, and work the same. So here I've already worked the first couple of rows. I still need to work the last two, rows 6 and 7. But on this side of the blanket, so if I have the blanket here, so on the opposing sides, you're going to do the same either way. So a band on the other side, work this also, and then we're ready to do flowers, well, if you want to. To make the heart of the flower, I'm going to make 48 of these flower centers. Just going to start with a chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and then come to the first chain and close here with a slip stitch. If you want, you can also do a magical ring, that's fine. We're now going to work into the ring 12 half doubles. So just a chain 1, doesn't count as a stitch. Then open up the ring in the middle, so really in the middle of the ring, a half double. That's 1. I'm going to work 12 of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the last one, 12. On the first stitch, and not the chain 1, but the first stitch, close there with a slip stitch. There you go. And at this point you can fasten off and already work away these yarn tails. To complete the flower, join in any stitch with a slip stitch. There you go. Now we're going to be working 6 flower petals. In the next stitch, so you're currently in this stitch, come to the next, work a half double, followed by a double, followed by a treble, followed by a double, and then a half double. So all of that in one stitch, and then come to the next stitch and work a slip stitch. That's one flower petal. This was one. You're going to work 5 more, so that will bring you all the way around. I'll show you once more. Start with a half double, so in the next stitch, so that's a half double, then a double, then a treble, then a double, and then a half double. And in the next stitch, a slip stitch. 2 petals. Work 4 more, and your last slip stitch will be in the same position as where your first slip stitch was. But work 4 more, and when you're finished, you can cut off your yarn and leave a reasonable yarn tail so that you have this available to sew the flower to the blanket. Work away all your yarn tails except for the long tail, because this one you're going to use to sew the flower onto the blanket. Now this is one flower. You can make as many or as few as you want. I've made 48 in the pattern, but you can also choose to omit this altogether and make no flowers. That's also fine. So continue and make more or less. If you're making the pattern, you make 47 more in different color combinations, and then we can sew these onto the blanket. And indeed, when you have all the flowers ready, you can sew them onto the blanket. Do so by, for example, letting them overlap just a little bit with these edges. That's just nice, and letting the flowers overlap with themselves also. Distribute them randomly over the over this band, so this band and also on the other side of the blanket. So distribute them randomly however you think they look pretty, and then you can use this one to this long tail to catch all of these petals so that it really so that it's nice and secure. So you sew all those petals flat. Very similar to the way that we did with the mandala when we were sewing on petals. So continue, do these flower petals if you want, and if you're not, then your work looks like this, and then you're actually finished for this part. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.